Here's one of our favorite clips from Neighborly Discourse with Billy and Steve.
A friend, I have a student who's in my youth group, and I said, "Hey, you heard about what happened in Texas?" And she said, "Yeah, yeah, I heard. Ah, man, I'm so sick of this." I said, "Yeah, I know." And she said, "When are we gonna do something about it?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she was like, "When are we gonna do things? When are we gonna do something about these guns?"
The misinformed, how they speak so easily.
And but I had an opportunity. It was a great opportunity because, for example, I don't think she understood, because I asked her. I said, "Do you understand that Americans having gun is quintessential American? Like, we wouldn't even be a country if we weren't allowed to have guns, because the states wouldn't have ratified, the colonies wouldn't have ratified the Constitution without that in the Constitution. It was so important that they would not have said, they would not have agreed to become a United States without it in it. And so because of it, because it's enshrined in what, like our Bible, if you will, because it's enshrined in that, you can't just take it away. You can't just wake up one morning and say, hey, take the guns. I mean, it just can't happen. It's just like, it's equivalent to waking up one day and saying you can't have free speech anymore. It's just like, you just can't do that. It's something it's part of who we are. And if you want to change it, and this is another thing that I talked to her about that I think she was clueless on, but I think I brought it to her understanding, is that if you want to change it, if we have now become a society that says we don't want guns anymore, then there's something that we can do about it. We can absolutely have an amendment and say, okay, let's get 3/4 of the states to ratify it. Let's get 3/4 of Congress to ratify it. And let's have a constitutional amendment. There's a way of doing it, but yelling and screaming and saying, like, when we're going to do something about it, it's like, that's so easy. That's such a lazy argument to make, because if you truly, really want to make a change, then do it the right way. And, yelling about it and screaming about it and saying you're doing nothing.
Yeah, but that's two things. That's one, failure in schools to educate kids properly.
Right.
They educate them, but again, not properly. They educate them to be their, minions. Because to your point, you can make an amendment, you can, get laws, do a change.org, do something to get the ball rolling, get the attention of someone who can do something. Instead, people think that as long as they put out memes or yell and scream, they're doing something. And they're not. You have to, like you said, start something. We're set up to where, as time progresses, because our forefathers knew we're going to move forward through life. So we are set up to roll with the punches, to make changes. And liberals know that, people know that, except for they're trying to hide it. So this girl's asking, what do we do about it? Hey, start a movement. Do a change.org, do something, get the attention of someone. At every politician you can do on any social media site, get someone's attention, raise a logical, don't just say we have to do something. What does that mean?
Exactly. What does that mean?
Okay, duh. What do we have to do?
Okay.
Say, I was in here with the old man yesterday. You have to be 25 to rent a car, depending on, if it's insurance, if it's credit, whatever it is. You have to be 21 to drink, 18 to get a gun, smoke cigarettes, 16 to drive. Why are these numbers like that? To me, if you want to rate them in importance or possible dangerous outcome or whatever, you would put the gun ownership a little bit higher up on the food chain, on the age. That would be a start. Hey, listen, politicians, I think we're too young as people at 18 to own a gun. I think it should be 21, like drinking, or 25, like renting a car. Or I think we should have a co-signer, no matter who buys the gun, where someone else is liable if something goes wrong. Checks and balances.
You know what's interesting about that last thing you just said? That's absolutely what happens with a driver's license.
Yeah.
Like, I have to sign off saying that I agree, if you're under 18, I agree that I'm responsible and liable for anything that happens with my kids.
So not only is there, you could do something, we already have this in place. You should be asking, how come they don't move gun ownership into these sort of checks and balances? That's what you should be asking.
Well, now, so there's a lot there to unpack. Let me say this.
You've been unpacking a lot of stuff lately.
I do not.
I know you're moving it all. And you got your brain a certain way.
Well, I haven't unpacked yet. I'm packing now. I'm packing. But I don't agree because our kids are able to die at 18 and in some cases 17.
Yeah.
Give their life for the country. Take up arms and fight. I'm not necessarily, my starting point is not at a place of saying raise the age of having guns, right? So I'm putting that out there, right?
Well, that's an easy debate. One, military service, you were trained. 18, you can just go by.
Adults aren't trained.
18-year-old military.
No. I'm saying most adults who carry guns aren't trained.
That's my point. But the direct thing was raise the age, and your response was, if you can go take up arms for military service, why can you not own a gun? One is trained to use that weapon. The other is not. So to me, I understand your thought, the premise of it. If you can die for my country, I can own the gun. But they're different things, in my opinion.
What I'm saying to you is, again, trying to compare apples to apples. If we're concerned with people being trained, then everyone should be trained.
Agreed.
But if we're not going to put that, as a uniform rule that everyone should be trained, then why should an 18-year-old be trained?
Well, again, I'm only going off of what you're saying. You're trained at 18 in the military.
What I'm saying is, as a counter argument to say, well, the reason that an 18-year-old can use a gun in the military is because he's being trained.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, if we call the 18-year-old an adult,
then
and no other adult has to be trained.
Yeah.
Why does he have to be trained? Why does
that 18-year-old? Gun, you mean?
Yeah, for the gun.
Because I would say life experience. You know nothing at 16, and when you realize you know everything at 16, so you could become 18, and realize you knew nothing at 16. When you're 21, you realize you knew nothing at 18. Mm-hmm. 25, you knew nothing at 21, so on and so forth. So your value for life goes up, your maturity goes up, life experience goes up, and that should, in some part, play a factor in your decision making. Because on we recorded yesterday, the old man said the last 4 mass shooters were 18, 19 years old. They're not older people; they're young kids. And his thought was, look at the last 10 years when these kids were 8 to 18. The world's going to end. Boys can become girls. Climate change, like they're forcing this. Everything is so crazy negative. Elections can be rigged. Like their social media puts the fakest people up first, where you look like your life sucks, then the world's going to end. All this crazy stuff. And who is there to correct them? Because school indoctrinates them. Who knows what their parents are up to, which it's their job to keep them on point. But his thought was, they're young. They've been told nothing but the world sucks for the last 10 years. You're not getting a 25-year-old, 30-year-old running through a school blowing stuff up. It's, at least for now, it's young kids who are being told the world's ending. So, do what you want.